Hello and welcome to the video. Today we have the third part of our fully narrated mini-series, inspired by WarHammer 40K. If you haven't already watched the earlier episodes, consider going back and getting up to date. Also, if you could hit the like button and comment any feedback you have, it would really help me out. Otherwise, on with the tale. Letters to the Dark Part 3, written and narrated by Tallow. 12th of May 2528. Dear Mother and Father, it's been a long 3 months. We didn't end up getting rotated out because they needed almost all our SCC on the front lines. It turns out the fucking geeks had no idea about the enemy numbers. After all that planning and posturing, no one had any goddamn idea. Sorry. I only lost 3 of my boys. Thank God it wasn't more. Brett, Connolly and Jet. They were good boys, all just a year or 2 older than me. Connolly and Jet didn't stand a chance. A big grub nearly 3 meters tall got at them. But Brett, we got him out of there and he died in my arms. At the end, he didn't think about the war or the GW, only his loved ones back home, and whether the others in the unit made it out. It was so stupid, but we were all so tired. We had spent the last 2 days helping out the guys over in Charlie C1 after they got pushed out of their FOB London Fire. We crushed the grubs under our boots and pushed them back out into no man's land. But the FOB itself was bad. I'll spare you the grim notion, but basically everyone that was injured inside when the grubs took it was slaughtered. Nearly 2,000 men who could have fought another day if only those cowards in the C1 had held their ground. Apparently their major tried to get them to hold, but there was a mutiny. I don't know the details enough to judge, but it all sounds off to me. Anyway, we pushed the grubs out and had a few hours of respite before they regrouped and came back at us. We sent a few fire teams between the FOBs to run ammo and other supplies while we rested. No one considered that the grubs might simply go around us. They hadn't up until this point. Always right down the barrel they would come. None of the fire teams we sent out alone made it back, so we ran out of ammo almost immediately. Other units have lost ground, then retaken it dozens of times, but the grubs would always flock to where the fight was the heaviest, or so we thought. Stupid bastards, the lot of us. It was the first time we as a company pulled back. It felt like losing. Trying to organise a few thousand troops to leave all at the same time was a logistical nightmare. Then you add the fact that a rumour went around that because the fire teams didn't make it, we were surrounded. Which wasn't true, of course. But fear spreads through troops like wildfire, and before long, everyone was running for their lives. Us and a few guys left from the Delta B1s held the fort while we gave even the slowest and stupidest of our guys time to get out of Dodge. Thankfully, almost everyone made it to the closest FOB, Sister Earth. We held out as long as we could at London Fire. Thankfully, some of the guys in the Mechanized Corps had the brains and the balls to stick with us, so we had a fallback plan at least. We thought we'd given ourselves enough breathing room to get onto the transports, but just as we were leaving, this big bastard comes up through one of the gun ports. Usually, a single grub isn't much chop, especially with everyone being so damn accurate these days. But this one was 3 meters tall, never seen any that big before. It smashed its way inside, just as the lads were breaking down a beam focuser. It was me who told them to do it. We could have left it, really. It's not like the war effort would miss 1 BF. The Spire is fully operational now, meaning most of our gear is printed and fabricated here. And in the back of our minds, we all knew that we'd be forced back here in a few days to retake everything anyway. But no, I decided it was worth bringing along, and 3 good men are dead because of it. I had to fill out the engagement report this morning. Stripes says that when we fall, the brass writes letters back home for us. But I think I'll write the guys' families after this. It only seems right. The rest of us are back in passive world now, resting up. We've got 2 weeks of respite, but we're to stay close to the front just in case. Our team has been filled with a few guys from the central SCCs. Apparently that's how things will go from now on. They seem like decent enough fellows. I mean, almost everyone looks the same these days, so we can't exactly judge anyone based on looks. Surprisingly, the melancholy only stuck around for a few days. After that, we were back to the way we should be. The new guys are even getting along. We've been really looking forward to getting any sort of correspondence from home though. It's the same old story. Anytime someone asks about it, they're working on it. They have to vet every single letter. It's been so long since any of us have heard from home. I think it's starting to have an effect. But the brass have assured us that the messages are on their way. So I'll keep recording mine and updating you guys when I can. 25th of May 2528. Dear Mother and Father, it's truly incredible what a few short weeks off the front lines will do to your mood. I feel like a new man again, ready to get back out there. We are rotating back tomorrow, going back to our old stomping grounds of Goodbye Faraday. I hope whoever has been through there recently has kept up the level of cleanliness we did. Fat chance. Apparently, things are going to be a little different now. The grubs have changed up their tactics, which is concerning. Our issue with them outflanking our FOB wasn't the only case of such a tactic. Therefore, the geeks and brass have devised a plan to use the mech core to build a massive wall that runs basically from the north coast to the south, with a road running along it, one on the eastern flank and one on the western. It will be the second biggest undertaking since arriving on Planet Kill, with the mega farms being finished and operational, and the rail system is nearly completed, so all the resources will be shifted toward Project Wall. It's actually called Project Hadrian, but no one can tell me who or what that is. On our eastern flank, it's going to be roughly 3,000 kilometers long, but 4,500 on the western, which is crazy to conceptualize. Apparently, there was an ancient wall on Earth that was well over twice that, so the geeks say it shouldn't be too difficult. The tough part will be defending the crews while they build everything. Without fortified defences and properly thought out funnels for the enemy, it's gonna get messy. We'll have to dig our own defences as we go, which doesn't sound like fun at all, considering Planet K's soil is rife with minerals and most of the land is still a forest. But this time, we will have nearly 3 full infantry corps at our back, and the Navy are finally going to lend us a hand down here. We've been told the wall won't necessarily keep 100% of the grubs out, because, simply put, we cannot defend 3,000 kilometres of territory at once, in any meaningful numbers at any rate. It's more to hold them up and give everyone a chance to relocate to where the next attack is coming from. They still seem to focus on the most heavily populated zones anyway, so it should be interesting. Honestly, I'm looking forward to seeing it finished. The mega farms are one hell of a feat, let alone what the Spire City must look like. Anyway, I'll keep you guys updated as things progress. Looking forward to hearing from you all soon. Goodbye. P.S. Mary Beth, I love you. 12th of Feb 2529. Dear Mother and Father, it's been a long time since I've recorded anything, I know. I've started to lose track of time out here. I can't believe it's been 9 months. I've lost more men than I can keep up with their names. I've been promoted twice since my last message. Lieutenant straight through to Captain. Last I counted, I've got 100 or so fire teams under me, and at full strength, which it never is, it should be around 1,300 men. SCC-24 has really been pulling its weight. We have sustained some of the most casualties, but proven time and time again that we can get the job done, which these days is a pretty unique thing. The grubs haven't been docile at all. Remember that variant? That's what we call them, until they become commonplace. I mentioned in the last message. the 3-meter tall bastard. Well, now they are more common than not, and they have a ranged unit now as well. One of their forearms has mutated into a biofueled cannon which fires the meter-long spikes that grow on their backs. These spikes are accurate up to 100 meters, but even if they can't see much, they sometimes like to volley them at us, which is still a lethal threat. Our armour seems to be ineffective against them, so if you get hit with one center mass, it's basically game over. Our tanks and other armoured units seem to go alright, as long as they don't get caught in the rear. But the Navy weren't supposed to receive return fire, so they can be brought down easily if they fly through a volley of the barbs. At least the wall is finished. Well, just the eastern wall really. The west have had some issues keeping troops operational for the full 30 hours of K's cycle. Nix thinks it's got to do with the pollution coming off the Spire City. The winds blow the shit directly onto the crops and troops at the front, over on the west. Which apparently is having adverse effects on everyone and everything. But the brass say they are working on a vaccine that will get everyone back up and running in no time. The wall is 25 meters high and has 6 new FOBs built into it, spaced out evenly south to north. About 10 kilometers of land was also cleared in front of the wall to give us enough room to spot targets and fire. A hell of a lot of good men died to get this wall built. I hope it works as intended, but knowing the geeks, it may not. The honour of command wasn't what I expected. I really thought things would get easier the higher up the ranks I got. Sure, they may be lighter physically. I don't need to lug heavy equipment around or do any manual labour. But having to make an unending amount of decisions each day, knowing full well that some, if not most, will end with deaths, is a burden no person should have to deal with. I can feel it beginning to wear on my soul. I've stopped learning new troops' names because usually they are the first to be killed. Most of the old guard, guys who started out on the fringes, like the 1501st Infantry Corps, are in more senior roles now, which is good and bad. I'd really prefer more of them to be leading fire teams, so we'd have at least one person who knows what they're doing. But as you can imagine, the more senior you become, your chances of becoming grub meat goes down. So I can't blame anyone for trying their hardest to move up. There have been multiple rumours going around about mass mutinies over on the western flank. Men too long away from home and too long on the front lines without reprieve, says Nix. But they are only rumours, and the brass haven't sent anything down the line, so I think we should be good. I don't understand it anyway. It's not like we have anywhere to run to. We can't get into orbit, let alone back home. To enforce this, even the transport freighters that ship the refined rosenium and other minerals back home are unmanned. The GWAF wanted everyone to commit to the cause, no matter what. There shouldn't be any rebellion when the only place to go is inside a grub belly. I say grub belly like we know, but we don't. The geeks still have no idea where the grubs drag the wounded or KIA off to. Oh, and remember when the geeks said they were 100% sure the grubs weren't using those volcanic tubes, only using what was already there? That is total bullshit. They move very slowly, but they certainly dig those tunnels. We nearly had a complete flank collapse when a tunnel was discovered on our side of the wall. The sneaky bastards dug right under us and opened a tunnel during the night. Thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of grubs poured out, and it took 2 full infantry corps to put down the threat. We lost a lot of good men during that 3-week fight. It was the first time in a month or two that I grabbed my old light rifle and jumped into the slosh. The slosh. We call it that when you get crammed in with bodies, theirs and ours. Really, only the front 3 rows can sustain fire, and the rest are patiently waiting their turn, all the while being crushed by so many bodies. Even commanding troops is near impossible, and so everyone just sloshes around like the last dregs of whiskey in a bottle. When it happens, the losses are catastrophic. Even the signs of it happening are enough to give the most stout vet cause for concern. Anyway, we now have ground-penetrating scanners to keep an eye out for grub holes. 17th of March, 2529. Dear Mother and Father, I'm tired. Beyond exhausted doesn't even come close. Every day it's fighting. Every day it's calling orders and trying to get Typhoon's message across to the men. Morale is at an all-time low. No one has been rotated off in months, and we're burning through uniforms too quickly. There is so much to keep me up at night that I barely sleep. 2 hours a day, maybe. More than anything else, I think about the grubs. They've been evolving. Every once in a while there would be a report of a new variant, and we've gotten used to that. But now, we're getting updates from the geeks every week or so about the confirmed variants and what we think they're capable of. The prawns are the baseline, what we've been facing since arriving. Then there are the chiefs. They're like the prawns, only 3 meters in height or taller. Spikers are their ranged units, with some variants having multiple cannons now. There's also the gases. They spray a neurotoxic gas into confined spaces that not only stops the heart, but has some sort of biochem corrosive in there also. So, as you lay dying, you can feel your body disintegrating. We have no cure. Luckily, they are easy to spot and a cinch to take out, considering they glow a dull purple, and their toxin is poisonous to their own kind, so if you take one out and they pop, you're sure to get a few others in the process. Finally, the newest and most deadly are the sprinters. These have the same shape as the prawns, only they're lighter in build. They can run as fast as any man, and instead of big meaty mitts designed to tear, they have thin, knife-sharp, foot-long claws, perfectly suited to slice a man up into his constituent parts. It's a nightmare. The geeks still don't know how or why they keep evolving, which is laughable. I know. They're becoming better at killing humans. But we have become just as effective. Our tactics now compared to the beginning of the campaign are night and day. The line is broken down into fire teams, but now we have full companies out there at any time. The 650 teams alternating fire. There is never a time when some of our boys aren't firing on the enemy. We also send patrols into no man's land with the strict objective of catching grub hordes off guard before they reach the wall. It's actually been quite a while since the wall has seen any action because of this. It does cost lives at an unprecedented rate, however. At least the troops consider being stationed on the wall R&R now, which is good for morale. I'm being sent to the Spire in a few weeks, finally. I'm getting an accommodation for bravery and for my efforts over the last few months. Gotta keep up morale, says Typhoon, which is why he is giving a select group of captains the award publicly. I'm looking forward to seeing the city for the first time, and the whole reason we are here, the Rosenium facility. I've heard mixed opinions about Spire City, but anything is better than the front lines, even if it's for a short while. I'm honestly going to miss the Eastern Senior Command Group though. I've spent every day with these guys, through thick and thin, and now I'm going to leave them in the shit while I go off and play jester for the military correspondence. It doesn't seem right. Considering all the stuff I'm being awarded for wouldn't have been possible without them. Although, to finally see the city, the glory of the GWAF out here on the alien frontier, I think it might put things into perspective if I could see its splendor. Maybe the sacrifices of all my men would have some meaning if I could see the advancement of humanity through the galaxy. If I could truly grasp what it means to be part of the galactic worlds. Either way, I'm supposed to be able to check any messages from back home once I'm within the confines of the city, which is really what I've been looking forward to the most. I've told the guys that I will try and look up their messages as well, but the brass might not allow that. It turns out they've been keeping everything locked up in the city, away from prying eyes. Their reasons are still pretty vague, but I guess I'll find out more when I visit. I cannot wait to hear from you all. Goodbye. That was Letters to the Dark Part 3. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and comment any feedback you have, and consider subscribing as there will be more content to come. This was a TalowTale. Thanks for watching.